My name is John Buchannan, the Chief of Police of the North County Police Cooperative. I appreciate everybody coming out today. I'm going to make a short statement. Then I'm going to have the Assistant Chief of Police, Major Ron Martin, provide the details surrounding this incident. I would like to first offer my condolences from the North County Police Cooperative to Officer Michael Langsdorf's family. Our department is going to wrap our arms around you and support you through this difficult time. Mike was an outstanding officer. In his short time with our department, he has taken our young officers under his wing and was mentoring and guiding them. When we first met, he said to me several times, all I wanted to be was a police officer and do police work. Was really all I knew how to do. He told me that numerous times. I want to thank the citizens who were on the scene at Clay's Market that came to Mike's aid and summoned help. I want to thank Chief Jimenez from the St. Anne Police Department for their assistance. I want to thank Chief John Hayden with St. Louis City Police Department. I want to thank Chief John Belmer with the St. Louis County Police Department. Wesley Bell with the St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. Mayor McGee with the City of Veneta Park. Mayor Griffin with the City of Wellston. Mayor, Mayor Epps with the City of Pine Line, and a host of other agencies that has offered their assistance. Lastly, I want to thank the entire law enforcement community for their ongoing support and messages and condolences and encouragements. I will now turn this press conference over to Major Ron Martin.
Thank you all for coming. If you would give me a minute. Mike was a friend of mine. I've known Mike for 20 years. I appreciate Chief Buchanan and his leadership for this difficult situation we're in. I appreciate Mayor McGee. I appreciate every high-ranking law enforcement official standing behind me, every mayor, everybody that's been a part of this. I appreciate everybody's gratitude and the fact that they've opened our arms to this terrible situation that happened yesterday. At about 4:30 yesterday afternoon, Officer Michael Langsdorf received a call to Clay's Market, 6250 Page Avenue. It's a market, it's a store that's located in the city of Wellston at the corner of Page and Stephen Jones. The reason for the call was someone was trying to pass a bad check. Officer Langsdorf responded there, and he confronted this person that was trying to cash the bad check. And during that confrontation, a struggle ensued between both of them. It occurred inside the store, it occurred near the counter, and the entire inside area of the store is, there's surveillance cameras everywhere. The entire incident was captured on surveillance video. During that struggle, Officer Langsdorf and the suspect, who we can now identify, I'll spell it, his first name is Bonet, it's spelled B-O-N-E-T-T-E. His middle name is Kimbrell, and that's spelled K-Y-M-B-R-E-L-L-E. And his last name is Meeks, M-E-E-K-S. He's a black male and he's 26 years of age. Mr. Meeks and Officer Langsdorf had a struggle on the floor At some point, Officer Langsdorf was on top of Meeks. I don't know how, looking at the video, Mr. Meeks was able to do it, but he was able to pull a gun from his waistband, strike Officer Langsdorf in the side of the head a few times, which caused Officer Langsdorf to be in kind of a daze and lose his hold on Mr. Meeks. Mr. Meeks was able to stand up and stand over Officer Langsdorf as Officer Langsdorf was on the ground, face down, stomach down. Mr. Meeks had the gun in his hand, pointed the gun to the back of Officer Langsdorf's head, and fired one shot. Mr. Meeks was successful in executing the cop yesterday, and a good one. The shot didn't hit him in his head, it hit him in his neck. His left rear neck is where the bullet entered. It traveled to his spinal cord, ricocheted, went to his central cavity, and out his front chest. Officer Langsdorf was taken to Barnes Hospital, and he was pronounced at 5:15 p.m. by medical personnel there. Directly after the shooting, Mr. Meeks ran with gun in hand out of the store and eastbound on Page Avenue. Assisting officers captured him at 6221 Page, and he was armed with the pistol he used to murder Officer Langsdorf. This morning, our investigators teamed up with several law enforcement agencies. The St. Louis County Police Department was instrumental in processing the crime scene. The St. Anne Police Department was instrumental in lending investigative support. We conducted an interview with Mr. Meeks, where ultimately he confessed to murdering Officer Langsdorf. This morning at 8:07 a.m., our investigators, who stayed up all night, not a wink of sleep, met with prosecutors at Wesley Bell's office. They issued one count of murder first degree, one count of armed criminal action, one count of unlawful possession of a firearm, and one count of, I believe it's passing a bad check. I'm sorry, felony resisting. No bond was set. I have the copy of the complaint. I also have a picture of the suspect. I've made 15 copies. Looks like I should have made about 50. This is Mr. Meeks. He's in custody. Warrants have been issued. I will pass this around. Any of the media personnel would like to come up and get a copy and pass it around. We will also be sending this out in a press release, the digital photo. I can tell you this is Mr. Meeks' booking photo. You're more than welcome to get a copy. And I believe I've covered everything, Chief. I can tell you that Mike was a pretty big part of us, even though he was here a short time. He had a lot of police experience. You never would have thought that this type of police officer would have been put in that position, but it happened. There's no such thing as a routine call. This is the dangers that our police officers in this community face every day. And I'm going to end it by wishing the family my sincerest condolences, and just know that we will be there for them every step of the way. I'll take any questions. If anybody has any questions, I'll take it.
Can you talk a little bit more about that, putting your life on the line every day? This wasn't a routine call, so it's not one you.
Well, if you talk to any police officer, they'll tell you police work's 90% boring. It's repetitive, it's a lot of writing, and it's that 10%, that hot call, you know. This was one of that 90% calls. Someone's trying to pass a bad check. It's not a violent offense. It's against the law. It's a petty offense, and it's one that we don't condone. We don't condone anybody breaking any law, any volume of law. But you hear phrases like there's no such thing as a routine traffic stop. There's no such thing as a routine call. One of the most dangerous calls a police officer can go on is a disturbance call. You just don't know. There's a lot of unknowns on what's going on. And in essence, this individual trying to pass that bad check at this store was in essence a type of a disturbance, so to speak. So.
A lot of people have seen that Facebook Live video floating around. Can you walk us through how you all found out that it happened? Was it those women who seemed to be radioing you guys? Did you hear about it through someone else? How did that?
The Facebook video is out there. I believe we've done our due diligence in removing that from Facebook. I don't think it exists out there anymore. The woman that was live streaming the last moments of Officer Langsdorf is an employee at the store. She was very cooperative with our investigators. And another woman who was, I don't recall if she was a employee of the store or if she was just a patron, but she went to Officer Langsdorf's aid, tried to stop his bleeding, and she grabbed his walkie-talkie and radioed on it, "You've got a policeman shot, you've got a policeman down." So.
What can you tell us about the suspect, such as his criminal history?
Well, charge 3 in the complaint, he's been charged with unlawful possession of a firearm. In essence, under RSMO, that's a felon in possession of a firearm. Mr. Meeks is a multi-convicted felon through the state of North Carolina, and I'll let you guys get that criminal history through Opens Records request. It's all based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I can tell you it's an extensive criminal history and violent.
Was he living here in the St. Louis area, though, or was he just...
His entire history is from North Carolina. We're still piecing things together. This is still ongoing. You know, we've still got investigators doing a lot of stuff. And I can tell you that we believe he made it to St. Louis back in January. That's what we think now. But the majority of his time, his adulthood, was spent in Raleigh, North Carolina. He was not known to us.
The second question for the county prosecutor, would you consider the death penalty?
First and foremost, I do want to offer my condolences to the family. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with Officer Langsdorf and his family, especially the law enforcement community. And one thing that I was struck by yesterday is how everyone rallied to come and support not only this officer, but this department. At this point, we're going to allow law enforcement to do their job. And once they do that, and obviously we'll be supporting them in any way that we can. And that's all I'm going to comment on at this point. But they have our full support. And again, our thoughts and prayers are with the officer and his family.
Is there any indication where he got what turned into the murder weapon?
We're currently working with other investigative sources and trying to piece that together. I can tell you the weapon that we recovered that Mr. Meeks used to murder Officer Langsdorf was not reported stolen, but we're currently doing some investigative queries to find out where that weapon originated at.
Could you tell us of Mike's story, something that made him stand out to you and his fellow officers?
I can tell you Mike's been in law enforcement for about 18 years. I started my police career in the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. I worked there for about 10 years, and Mike and I were in the 3rd District together back in 2002. We're talking 17 years ago. And you want to talk about a guy that just liked to be the police. It was in his blood. He wanted to help people. You know, he'd drop a dime and be there for anybody, anywhere. And I think he dropped that dime yesterday at 4:30. He lost his life over something so minute, and I think that's a good story. Those.
You say that as an experienced officer, you like to mentor and guide the young officers, so he really took an interest in helping others as well, being the best
Yes, sir. We have some younger officers here, and bringing Mike on board and his experience was able to put him in that mentorship role, kind of lean on people, and people can lean on him, and it was a good mix. He was well liked. He was cared by all 60 of our officers. Not a bad word to say about him. I can tell you that his family is devastated. Yep, we do have officers dedicated to the family. Surrounding law enforcement agencies and municipal police departments are lending support for us and manpower, and it's certainly a team effort. I can tell you backstoppers kicked in already. The list is endless. List is endless of who's helping us and who's helping the family. You're going to have to repeat that question. That's a question I can't answer. You'd have to contact Jeff Rorta. He's the business manager there. And as we move on, it'll all be posted for sure. Yeah, oh, absolutely. The St. Louis Police Officers, St. Louis Police Officers Wives Association really stepped in and helped us. I can tell you, as a law enforcement organization, we kind of sprung out of nowhere in June of 2015. We've been around for 4 years, and in that 4 years, you know, we've had some hot and heavy things happen, but we've never had an officer-involved shooting in the 4 years we've been here, and we've never had a police officer killed in the line of duty since we've been here for the 4 years. And Mike is our first one, and it's pretty tough. It's tough to get a grasp on it all. Yes. Yes.
I want to afford any of the city officials at this time to make any statements if they would like.
My name is Mayor McGee, Mayor of the City of Anita Park. It is my deepest regret that I stand before you here today. I send my deepest sympathy out to the family of Michael and also the entire law enforcement community. This is a family. I was a police officer, so I know the struggle that the officers go through. I support them 100%. And I also want to thank all of the law enforcement behind me, the prosecuting attorney's office, Hazel Irby's office. Also, the governor sent his condolences to the entire family. So I just want to say thank you for your support. This community is one. We done had one of our family members to fall. So we're in grieving now. Michael had a personal relationship with all of our officers, not only them, with the city clerks. He would come by in the morning time and just ask them, how are you feeling? Can I do anything for you? This is the type of person he was. So God seemed to take the good ones, and Michael was a good one.
I'd like to say that I really hate these times, but these times come, and there's nothing we can do about it. I worked with Mike in the city. I retired from the St. Louis City in 2012, and I worked along with him. I want to say that I thank God for the mercy that he shows all of us. But God has a plan, and the plan that he has, there's nothing we can say or do about it. It's the best plan. I give condolences to his family, to the Co-op Police Department, and I thank everyone for coming today to support Mike. Appreciate it.
And I would say the same sentiments. Thank everybody for coming out, and we're concluding this press conference at this time. Thank you.